Hi, I'm Rebecca with the Middleton Public Lands Recreation and Forestry Department. Many of you know me as the Recreation Director. If you're not aware, my background is primarily in fitness and aquatics before coming back to work at the Recreation Department. I hold several fitness certifications, including a few things related to foam rolling. So we thought we'd jump on the bandwagon and give you a little snippet of things that you might be able to do from your very own living room. I have a great cameraman today. It's my son who's has the arm twisted so he would participate with me. And just so you know, I have two dogs. One's very large, sometimes is mistaken for a small pony, who may cross paths with us at some time during the course of this video. But we're going to try to keep going as best we can. So we're going to do a little bit related to foam roller. And if you're not sure, you've got this round thing at your house that you bought that someone said it would be a great tool for you to be able to use. It is a great tool once you know the things that you can do with it. And I personally own several foam rollers. So the one I'm going to use primarily today is one of the Trigger Point, and it tends to be a harder plastic. You can kind of hear it on the inside with different grooves along the waist representing different things. But there's also just some traditional ones that you might buy through Walmart, Target, or any type of store. You can do it online from the comfort of your home. Sometimes the longer the foam roller is, the more stability it's going to provide. Some of the shorter ones will help you to get into some hard to reach places, but you want to look at the density of it. How hard is it? The harder the roller is, the more intensity you're going to have in the exercises. So if you're just starting out and you have a fairly soft one, this one's fairly soft, it's perfectly fine. It gives you just a place to start. The other thing you want to think about is you want to make sure that you have a little bit of space. You will end up doing a little bit of movement, but you can do it on any type of floor, wearing any type of clothing, except you want to be very careful if your clothing has a lot of thick seams on it, because if you're rolling over that, that might be really uncomfortable. One of the other things is always to recommend that you're well hydrated. It just helps with the rolling in general. So we're going to start off with some basic pieces. Again, a lot of this is through Trigger Point Therapy. That's where I've done a lot of my certifications through. You can go online and they have a lot of great videos on their YouTube channel, which is TP Therapy. Great resource if you're hoping to reference more of this in the future. But we're just going to start today with some basic principles. Typically we start at our feet and we work back towards the top of our body. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stand up for the first one, and it is about rolling the soles of your feet. So we're going to come up nice and tall, put our foam roller down, just make sure that you have some space. And I'm going to come to the side of the foam roller and I'm going to put my foot up on top of the foam roller. In Trigger Point Therapy, we don't roll fast, we don't do a lot of repetitions, and we really make sure that we're using our breath. Because if you're holding your breath, you're going to produce tension, and if you try to roll over something that's tense, it's counterproductive. So the biggest thing you can do is breathe. Try to relax a little bit, but I will tell you this is probably not the most comfortable type of exercise that you're ever going to do. They actually call it the poor person's massage. So think about if you go in and have a deep tissue massage, sometimes you're a little sore the next day. Could be expected from this. So we're going to start with putting one foot up, and you want to go with the fleshy mounds up on top of your foam roller. So if you stand back a little bit and just roll from here, not a lot of pressure. If you come up alongside of it, you're going to be able to apply a little more pressure, and you apply as much pressure as you need. So I'm going to take a breath in, breath out, and I'm going to roll from those fleshy mounds to about halfway through the arch. You might have to turn your foot in slightly. All we are going to do are 4 rolls. So nice and slow. They usually say 1 inch per breath. And then after you do 4 rolls, you're going to come to that halfway point, stop, and now you're just going to do 4 mashes, cross fictions, however you want to think about this, but just 4 times. Nice and slow, back and forth, keep breathing, and then you're about halfway down, you're going to go halfway to the heel. So we typically don't roll over any joints. If you have any bruises on the body, you want to be mindful of, you don't want to roll over the top of that. So 4 rolls from the center of your arch all the way back to your heel. So once you've done 4 rolls, you're going to go back to the heel, and now you're going to do those 4 mashes again, or those just rub back and forth. So you can put as much pressure into this or as little pressure as you need to. After those 4, we're gonna switch over to the other foot. Sometimes it's just as easy as walking to the other side of your foam roller and bringing that foot up. So you might have to make a little adjustment, apply as much pressure as you need to, fleshy mounds to halfway, 4 rolls. So some deep breaths. Again, you're applying as much pressure. If you need to, you could use a chair for stability. You could use a broom. That might help with you standing up. So you have 4 rolls, and once you've done 4, you go halfway back, and then you rub that foot. And then you're gonna go from mid all the way to the heel, 4 rolls. So now we're back at the heel, and we're just gonna go ahead and take those 4 rolls, those 4 mashes. And once you finish, just kind of step off, shake it out, do what you need to do. And then we're gonna come to the floor. And I'm gonna turn sideways as I come down to the floor. Next place we're gonna go is to our calf. And you always wanna start furthest away from the body and then come towards the body. So we're gonna actually take this to the crease of that lower leg. So if you flex your foot, you'll kind of notice where your gastroc and your soleus tend to meet, that junction. We're gonna go ahead and then, it's about halfway up the leg, depends on you. But from here, if you want more pressure, you cross the other leg over the top. You can push down a little bit harder. For this one, you're probably gonna have to prop yourself up a little bit, could do fist for wrist. And we're gonna do 4 rolls here, just real gentle back and forth. You might have to hold yourself up a little bit. I have a nice hardwood floor, so you literally could slide your butt across the hardwood floor, make it go a little bit easier, but again, you might need a little more pressure if you're doing that. After 4 rolls, we're gonna take that pause, and again, if you need more pressure, and now we're gonna roll side to side 4 times. And this is usually where you feel a little catch. Woo! So once you've done those 4, you're now gonna go a little higher over the meaty part of the calf. So I'm gonna adjust here. I'm gonna go ahead and come up to right beneath my knee joints because I don't wanna roll over the back of the knee. So there's not necessarily muscles right there. So we wanna be careful of those ligaments and those tendons because they're not supposed to stretch, so to speak. So we've got 4 rolls, and it might be that you're sliding your rear end across the floor. And then we'll go and pause right beneath that knee joint. And now we're gonna go side to side for 4. I used to teach this class on a pretty regular basis at a variety of locations. MSCR, the Princeton Club, a few other places. So after those 4 rolls, we're gonna switch over to the other leg. So we'll go ahead, get ourselves set up. You might have to scoot back a little bit on your mat if you're coming off of it. But again, you might flex your foot. You might notice where those 2 muscles come together. Sometimes there's a little divot there. You're there and you're just moving about 1 inch for those 4 rolls. So take some nice deep breaths. And then we'll pause and then we'll move side to side. Now from here, we're gonna go over that meaty part of the calf. So again, you might have to lift yourself up a little bit or slide yourself along the floor. We're gonna do those 4 rolls. I find that if I turn my leg in slightly, I feel like I can get a little bit more through that calf region. And then after you do your 4 rolls, you're gonna stop beneath the knee. And now we're gonna move side to side again. Oh, I can feel a catch there. Sometimes you wanna hang out, just give it a little bit of pressure. You could, make sure you take some nice deep breaths. I used to teach this class on a weekly basis, and it was a morning class, and many of my participants were 65 and above. So this is something that can be done no matter what your age is. After we finish here, team, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move this up towards our rear end. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sit on top of my foam roller. If you're new to this, it might feel a little wobbly. You may notice you gotta engage your core a bit to help keep you upright. So we always had a really good time, these older women that came to class with me. From here, team, I'm gonna take my one leg and I'm gonna cross it over the top. Now, if this does not work for you, take this leg and just kind of bring it out and roll over a little bit to that cheek. So you can keep the leg here, or this is gonna give you more intensity if you cross it over the top. It's a very small roll, and it's more so your piriformis, not so much your glute. We're gonna go back and forth. So I'm gonna do 4, and then the ladies would always giggle because we do those 4 rolls and we'd say, now you have to drag your butt back and forth across this foam roller. And this lovely lady that always came to class would be like, oh, I've seen my dog do this when they drag their butt across the floor. And I'm like, yeah, something like that. So it was always a good laugh for us. From here, I'm gonna take this leg out and I'm gonna come down a little lower. So I wanna make sure that I'm in that meaty portion. They'd always giggle here too, and they'd tell me, hey, Rebecca, what if it's all meaty? Pick the best spot, team. So I'm here and I'm gonna take and do those same rolls back and forth. So again, goal is 4. And then after that 4, I'm coming to the top. So this is more of that glute region. So typically the medius, the minimus up top. And now I'm gonna go back and forth, side to side 4 times. And once you finish that, you're gonna go ahead, take your time, engage your core, bring yourself up. And I'm gonna go over to the other side. So again, it might be that I'm just kind of rolling over to this other cheek. Leg can go out, or for a little deeper, it's gonna go up, and you're gonna find yourself, you're kind of in the middle of that cheek. So from here, I'm gonna take those 4 rolls. So I'm still breathing, trying to relax. And then after those 4 rolls, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of drag my rear end back and forth. From here, I want to take this leg off. It's usually a little bit better. You can come back to your arm. You're going to go up a little bit higher, meaty portion of your tush. You might hold this leg up as you move forward and back. And then after those 4 rolls, you're going to go ahead and just move side to side. These are usually some trouble areas for us when we're thinking about maybe you're at home, you're seated at a desk that you're not used to, maybe you're working from the kitchen table, maybe you're like us here and we all have to kind of balance our own spaces. So we started with the feet, moved to the calves, did a little bit here through the piriformis and the glutes, and let's think about moving to the back because sometimes that's an area that we feel a little bit of tension, especially if we've been hunching over our computer, our tablet, whatever it might be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna come to about the mid-back. So lower down is QLs, and sometimes it's not very comfortable for people, but this is about mid-back. I might wanna support my head and lift myself up, and I'm just gonna roll very gently to about the bottom of your armpit. That would be my best advice for you. Just this small section from the middle up towards the bottom of your shoulder blades, the bottom of your armpit. So 4 of them. Now I'm going to suggest that you then take and bear hug yourself, and you can always put your rear end on the floor. And you're going to go ahead and just kind of move side to side. If you've ever been to the chiropractor, you may notice some of the same sensations if they are adjusting your back that you might be feeling right here. So a little bit side to side.